hunting, just me, my hound, and my gun. Chasing them deer, rabbit, and squirrel, now that's my kind of fun. I like going fishing too, I'll go on any whim, looking for the big bass, the crappie, and the brim. Just give me a wide open field to walk through. Give me an ocean so deep. I want to ride the longest river in the world, or maybe climb the highest mountain peak. Like going down to the fishing hole, my buddies and me and my old cane pole. Bait them hooks and wet them lines, it's the life I love so fine. It's almost supper time, you'd think the world was mine.
And now for today's outdoor adventure, here's Archie Phillips.
I run across this gentleman after having my health deteriorate down to the point where I was just about to fall apart, and I was about 80 pounds overweight, and I got with a good friend of mine, a Dr. Clyde Albritton, and he got me on the proper minerals and vitamins and off the junk food and all that. And in the course of events, he kept mentioning this Dr. Ringsdorf. He said, now he's over at the University of Alabama in research on nutrition, and the results they're finding out that we're just killing ourselves with what we eat. So I got up with Dr. Ringsdorf. We're gonna come out here and catch some fish this afternoon, but I got him to come by here and go over some stuff. And this fella here knows something about nutrition. And Doc, these are the books that you've written here, and kind of go over some of them with us a minute. Tell us what they're about, if you would.
Well, this one's actually called Diet and Disease. It shows how the first book we wrote shows how the diet keeps you well or makes you sick.
All right, what was your other one now? Which was the next one you came along with?
This little book called New Hope for Incurable Diseases.
I see.
And that deals with some of the things that are, in quotes, called incurable, but we find that through diet that they seem to be modified.
I know you brought me a magazine, this is an April edition.
It gives you some idea of how important the subject is getting to be.
Yeah, the real power of vitamins. New research show that may help fight cancer, heart disease, and the ravages of aging. And what was your next book, Doc?
The next book was this dental book, Diet and the Periodontal Patient.
Now, you were a dentist and a researcher up at the University of Alabama, is that correct? And so you dealt a whole lot to do with your teeth has got to do with your food too, isn't it?
Right.
All right, what was your next one now?
The next one was this book called Predictive Medicine, which shows you how to predict what you're going to have and how to avoid it.
I see.
It's more of a preventive book.
All right.
Then this book, Psychodietetics, Food and Mood, whether you're going to be blue or happy and so forth, a lot of it's related to what you eat.
Well, now I've read this one about twice. It is an excellent book, but the one you got coming up next there,
The Vitamin C Connection.
This is my favorite.
Vitamin C is a powerful protective substance.
It sure is, and I've got more out of this one. Of course, some of these they're not in print now, so I didn't have them, but I had this one and the Psychodietetics, and they're real great. And the supplements, I know you've invented a new supplement, Nutritional Formula 7, that you've tried to incorporate all your research from all of this into what you consider the most perfect of all supplements to get you going.
Right.
All right, well, we're going to go out here, Doc, and catch some brim and maybe catch a bass or two, and I want to pick your brains on how us as sportsmen are killing ourselves with what we eat and how we can change some bad habits real easy and get on some good habits. Oh, yeah, that's a good bed one up. I'm going to slip our anchor in. I think we found them again, Marshall. And let me ask you this, Doc, what was your most promising find in your research? What area did you like the best?
Vitamin C research was the primary aim. I think probably because we found a higher percentage of people deficient in vitamin C than anything else.
I see.
And we felt like the recommended daily allowances were far too low, that people needed a good bit more than the recommended daily allowance.
What do you think is a good number of C?
Well, most of the studies, very recently, in the newspaper, something came out on vitamin C and longevity, and they found that the people that were taking 1 to 300 milligrams of vitamin C a day were living 7 to 8 years longer
I see.
than the people just getting by on lesser amounts. The recommended daily allowance is 60 milligrams,
Uh-huh.
and it's just not enough. If you want to enjoy optimal health, it's just not going to do it. It'll keep you from having scurvy,
Yeah,
which is a total deficiency of it.
Uh-huh.
But it won't fill the bill as far as good health is concerned.
I see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we done found that. This wind's been about to blow us out there. You know, Doc, how does food affect your health? Now, you know, I've always heard if you eat right, you're going to be all right, but how does food affect your health? I believe we've been leaning too heavy on medicine instead of what the good Lord put out here for us,
That's
hasn't
right. Actually, have I already mentioned about the food being the number 2 killer?
he? No, you hadn't told me about that.
Well, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says that our diets are the number 2 American killer. It accounts for 1/3 of all the deaths from cancer and heart disease. Now, the way diet affects our health is there are 2 groups of factors in the diet. You can call them pluses or minuses. I like to call them resistance factors and susceptibility factors. The resistance factors are the pluses and the susceptibility factors are the minuses. The minuses are things like sugar, highly refined grains and grain products, saturated fat, animal fat, hydrogenated vegetable fat like margarines and so forth, salt. All of these things are the susceptibility factors. The resistance factors, or the pluses, are vitamins, minerals, protein, the building blocks of protein, amino acids, essential fatty acids from fat. All of these things tend to encourage health, promote it. The way they do it is that their body makes about 3,000 enzymes. And an enzyme is manufactured from a vitamin, from a mineral, and from amino acids, the building block of protein. And so vitamins, minerals, and amino acids enable the body to manufacture those 3,000 enzymes, and they are catalysts that control every chemical reaction in the body.
Well,
You can see
basically,
how pervasive the diet is, and it's just every enzyme, every chemical reaction is based on a vitamin, mineral, and amino acids.
the body is a human chemical factory, right?
Complex factory, yeah, like you can't imagine, yeah.
And if we don't supply the right raw materials, it ain't gonna happen,
It's
is it?
not going to do it.
All right, Doc, got another one coming in there. I believe you done found him back in that good cool corner, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, now, Doc, some of the oils, you know, we've been led to believe that all oils are bad, but they ain't all bad, are they?
No, the unsaturated fatty acids that are the unsaturated oils are good for us. However, they do require that you have a good vitamin E intake, or they become rancid in the body.
Now, name some of the good oils.
The best oils are the ones called monounsaturated oils.
All right.
They're olive oil, canola oil, and even peanut oil is a type of that oil.
I see.
Probably the 2 best ones are olive oil and canola oil.
But you got to take the E to be able to metabolize them, right?
Well, you've got to have E, more E, if you have the highly unsaturated oils like sunflower seed oil, safflower oil, and those. And with these monounsaturated ones, the olive oil and the canola oil, they don't require as much vitamin E to keep them.
What do you think
See-
a person ought to be taking in vitamin E every day?
They probably ought to be taking in anywhere from 200 to 400 units a day.
Yeah, I take 400, and of course, I didn't know exactly what I should be taking, but I know I've checked a lot of the books that y'all have written, and that's the number I came up with, about 400.
Yeah.
Now, Doc, you know, I've shed 80 pounds here in the last year or so, and I got my health in such bad shape, and I mean, I was in real bad. I developed diabetes. I had a 330 blood sugar, and you know, carrying all that weight around. I was tired all the time, fatigued. I mean, I said to myself, Archie, if you age in the next 5 years like you have in the last 5 years, you ain't gonna be around very long. And I got with my old buddy, Dr. Clyde Albritton, who's a great fan of yours, and Dr. Saraskin and those folks, and he put me on a food program. It wasn't nothing but regular grocery store food and vitamin supplementation and it's just turned my life around. And why is something that's so simple, like just changing the food you eat, why is it that people don't understand it, or that they don't want to do right to get themselves in good shape?
Well, Archie, it is, you're right, it is simple. And of course that in itself is one reason that people don't buy it. They're looking for very complex cures. As I mentioned a while ago, the way that the diet affects us is through the formation of these 2,000-3,000 enzymes. They're catalysts that enable the body to burn food at 98 6/10 degrees.
That's a miracle in itself, ain't it?
It's an absolute miracle that we can burn up the food and convert it into energy and so forth at 98 6/10 degrees. And it's these catalytic chemicals that enable us to do that, and they're all formed out of vitamins, minerals, and amino acids.
The work you did. Now, what all did you do up there at the university? What was your area of work up there?
Well, Archie, I was there for 30 years, and all of that time was spent in nutrition teaching, nutrition education, and research, heavily oriented towards vitamin C.
I see.
But we did, Dr. Askin and I did all types of research. We just were really interested in vitamin C. We did research on sugar problems and of all aspects of nutrition as it relates to disease in general and as it relates to mouth disease, gum disease.
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of your vitamin C book, the Vitamin C Connection, and your supplement that you developed. I think that's one of the grandest things, because a lot of times your regular vitamin tablets, they don't digest, do they, Doc?
That's right. A lot of tablets go through you undigested right out just like they came in. So I have a powder which is fully utilized. And I want to mention one other thing and that is that you don't get deficient in just one substance, because all vitamins and minerals and amino acids are interrelated. And it's like the domino effect. When you push one of them over and it gets deficient, it drags the whole group down. So there are many deficits that develop from starting with a single one. There's no such thing as a single deficiency of a single substance.
Well, Doc, I got a lot of buddies that are really, they go in for hunting and fishing and all, and they go out here and they get up early and they leave late and they eat the worst kind of junk food, soda pops, tater chips, and go out in the boat all day in the hot sun and all, and their health just goes down, down, down. Now, from y'all's books that I've been reading, this refined stuff, even refined bread, it's got so much detrimental stuff in it that they can never expect to have optimum health. Now, I know some of these boys go out on these fishing tournaments and they fish a couple of days before they go. They hardly ever get enough sleep. They're in very stressful situations. So they need to particularly watch their stuff. In cold weather and cold climates where they're out there early in the morning walking all day and putting unusual stress on their bodies and all, these folks need to have their equipment in as fine a tuned shape as they can get, don't they?
Well, Archie, sportsmen and athletes have an unusually high need for more nutrients than the average person. They're exposed to the elements a lot, intense heat, cold, a lot of physical activity over a whole day's time. So their needs were probably greater than the sedentary person who's sitting around at home. Therefore, they need larger quantities coming in, and it's very difficult to get those through just what they eat. Now, the food that they take in, however, should be nutritious. They should have fresh fruits and vegetables and seeds and whole grain products. All of these things supply vitamins and minerals, but they really won't fill their bill as far as their needs because of their activity. So they need to take a strong supplement.
Lay me out a Sportsman's mineral and vitamin program, if you would, Marshall.
Well, the sportsmen and the athletes need what I would call optimal levels. They would be considerably higher than the recommended daily allowance.
All right, let's go. Let's start at the front end of the vitamin list, and you call out what you would think they would be needed.
For example, vitamin A would be about 25,000 units. Vitamin C would be at least 1,600 units. vitamin E would be about 400 international units. The B vitamins, B1, B2, all through there would be like 25 to 35 milligrams. All of these are per day. The minerals in the supplement, of course, about 500 milligrams of calcium, 200 to 300 milligrams of magnesium, 50 milligrams of zinc, right on down the line. All of these figures now are several times higher than the recommended daily allowance.
I see.
And they need that for insurance purposes. One way you know that you're getting enough extra vitamins is that your urine will be yellow.
I see.
And that shows you that you've taken up all you can take up and the excess is spilling out.
Well, Doc, I brought us a little something to eat. What I like to do when I come out, I like to bring fresh lemonade and squeeze it myself. I always like to have banana and an apple, and that kind of gets me going. I did pick us up some fresh cherries. I love them things, and I understand they got a lot of nutritional value, but if you're coming out in the hunting or fishing, what we're going to do, all we need is just a little ice chest there. I did put a soda pop in there. I knew you taught nutrition, Doc, but I said, well, I don't want to push myself on nobody, but I always bring a soda pop, somebody that wants them. I don't drink them. I drink lemonade and all, but this kind of food will keep you going.
You brought the right things for being out fishing. The sugar that you get in fruit, when it's in whole fruit, like a banana, whole apple, whole cherries, whole peaches, whatever, is interspersed between all the fiber. So as you metabolize a piece of fruit, there's enough fiber to slow down the metabolism of sugar, and it won't cause any fluctuation in your blood sugar level.
Well, now, Doc, you ain't touched on it, but the fiber now, what does it, you keep hearing a lot about fiber. You don't hear a lot about some of these other things we talked about, but what makes fiber so good for you?
One of the two things. First, we've already mentioned one, and that is it keeps your body from metabolizing starch and sugar at too fast a rate. Secondly, the fiber in your digestive tract down in your colon inhibits the growth of certain organisms that produce cancer-causing chemicals and moves food through your body at a faster rate. People that eat a considerable amount of fiber, something will completely traverse their intestinal tract in 24 to 36 hours. But if they're not eating foods with a lot of fiber, it may take 3 or 4 days to go through. So
is that what causes colon cancer? That stuff, putrefaction down in there?
It causes colon cancer, appendicitis, all kinds of problems with the lower gut, with the colon and rectum.
I see.
And they are basically, you're talking about the number 2 cancers in the lower part of the digestive tract.
All they got to do is go in the grocery store and just make a wise selection. All you got to do is remember this: everything that man's messed with, as a general rule, he's messed it up.
That's right. You want to get food in as close to the state that it was harvested as possible.
Well, Doc, what we've talked about today is all the sportsmen and folks watching the show. We don't have to be wore out, and tired, and fatigued, and have all these terrible, earth-shaking diseases. At least if we have some of them, we can keep them to a bare minimum simply by the foods we eat. And so, if we just adjust our program on food, the quality of life will go on up for us, won't it?
That's right.
Well, Dr. Marshall Ringsdorf, it's just been more than a pleasure for me to have been out here with you today, and I guess I learned more about food and nutrition and diseases today than I have the whole rest of my life. I've read a lot of your books. I think you're to be commended in the research work you've done, and you folks out there listening, this man knows what he's talking about. He spent his whole life researching, and we are what we eat. And we go on eating that junk food, and all you folks that like to hunt and fish and go out there, like my hunting buddies, say, oh, let's go get us a big old sack full of them biscuits and that gravy and all that good pig fat and all that kind of stuff. Just remember this, it's all going in there, it's going to jam up your whole system, and you're going to wonder what happens when you wind up with heart trouble and diabetes and all these various diseases. The foods that the doc talked about today are foods that heal, and are foods for good health. And just remember what you saw today, just good old common sense eating, and it's got to be done in all things being considered, and that true, Doc? We want
That's
to
right.
consider everything. It's a balance there. And get yourselves out there where you can enjoy more of this outdoors. And Doc, it's been more than a pleasure. We caught a sack full of brim, and I think we'll just pull these up and turn them loose and go back and catch them again another day. They don't much want to come out there. Got one that's hung up in there. But Doc, it's been a pleasure. If you've got a last final word you'd like to say.
I'm going to say the old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I say in today's world, an ounce of prevention may be worth a ton of cure.
Yeah, so instead of worrying about all of the jobs that you've got, that you don't have hospital insurance and all that kind of stuff, if you'll spend as much time being concerned about the food you eat, then you hadn't got to worry about all the other expenses involved in hospital care and all that, because you won't be up there with all them sick folks because you'll be done something about it. So y'all folks stay tuned again next week for some more Outdoors with Archie Phillips. And Doc, it's been more than a pleasure having you aboard with us. Y'all folks stay healthy out there and see us again next week on Outdoors with Archie Phillips.